Hello, how's everybody doing today? I just thought I'd show you what I'm working on here. More computer work. It's never quite perfect. So before I swapped the radiator from the top to the front, because this case is the Meshify 2 case, is very deep, very long in the front because they make it for water cooling, so you can have your tank and your pump and all that stuff in there. But and we all know heat rises. Some people say that it doesn't even matter that heat rises, so you can put it on the front because the only thing that matters is the airflow, and the fans control that. So the heat rise issue is not a big consideration because of the natural convection currents that it'll give you out the top. So I put the radiator on the front since I'm not doing a full plumbed liquid cooled setup, just a liquid cooled CPU cooler. But since then, I've had a few issues with heat in the case, like specifically because of the Leon Lee fan L-Connect. It just doesn't register the temperature of the CPU at all of a sudden. And I don't know why that's happening. So it stops registering, and then the fans just sit at idle the whole time when I'm doing something graphics heavy, like a video game or YouTube or something. And then all of a sudden I feel heat radiating next to me, and I put my hand over on the case and it's super hot. I'm like, oh man, it's cooking my CPU. But and it's not trying to cool it because it doesn't know that it's hot. So I can't even check to see what temperature it is because it's registering as 0. So in that case, if that ever happens again, I reboot my computer and then it registers as the temp again. But if that happens, I want at least the passive cooling of the radiator being on top and the convection currents. So what I think I'm going to do here, the fans lay out in the case a little bit better as they are here because I've got the room in the front, and when you put a radiator on the top, it brings the fans down and it kind of crowds your connections up here. But I'm going to go back to that. It's always been a strange one to lay out. The case manufacturer, Fractal, says that the front holds 340 millimeter fans, but I put those 340 up here and they don't fit. So it would fit 2 140s and a 120, or it fits 3 120s like this on a radiator, but you can see how much room is there. There's not much. So even when I put the 140s and I slam them all the way to the top, it still doesn't fit. So I'm going to take 2 of the 140s, put them on the front end as intakes, because actually their exhaust right now, they're blowing out the front, and I put my hand over the mesh there and I can't even feel heat coming out of it. Whereas before, when it was on top, I felt heat coming out of the top quite a bit. And anyway, in the meantime, while those are out, I'm going to swap the video card. So I'm going to show you what I got. Finally ready to upgrade because AMD has come out with something new. After NVIDIA came out with some new stuff and saying, oh, they were twice as fast and you can get 4090 performance for $549, and it all turned out to be a lie. I'm going with AMD again. So this is an AMD 6750 XT, and I got an AMD 12-core CPU in here. I'm just going to stick with AMD. I'm also rooting for them in the stock market pretty hard, so I picked up the new 9070 XT. Okay, here's the difference in thickness between the Powercolor Red Devil 6750 XT and the XFX Swift 9070 XT. So it is a good amount thicker. Still just has the two 8-pin so power ports, so I don't have to get any new cables. It's a more efficient card. Still uses a little more power than this one, but I've seen some mods online that let you undervolt it and clock it to greatly improve efficiency, although it's already pretty good. Like it peaks out at about 300 watts, I think. There's only two 8 pins on it. Doesn't have a lot of RGB. The only thing that lights up is the XFX logo here. So no crazy fans or RGB on the front, so it'll go well with my build, and it'll allow me to use my current power supply. I've got an 850 watt power supply, and I've already got RGB fans in the case and everything, so I don't want to put too much strain on it. So there it is, side by side with the old one. Tiny bit shorter. Really, it's about the same once you factor in that little taper there, and but white, so it'll match my build too. So gonna get that in the case. Okay, there she is. Only took a couple of hours somehow, but I'm very thorough when I do it. I go through and clean, dust every little part, and vacuum the filters and all that. But the three 140s on top, 2 of them are in the front, 1 is in the back, so they can spin slower and give me some nice smooth airflow. Radiator's back on top, which is crowding the RAM and the upper inputs a little bit, like I said, and it's also the LEDs being hidden a little bit behind these cables here. But in this XFX Swift card, they didn't put the inputs down here where I think they should be. They jammed them right here, which is in front of the RAM, which is kind of weird. But actually the board in here is a very short board, so it's at the end of the board, and then this is all just cooler extension here, so whatever. That's how it's gonna be. And oddly, the picture's already sharper. Just my wallpaper on my desktop is sharper. I haven't done any gaming yet, but I have to play with the settings there, so we'll see how it goes. But so far, so good. Have a good one, and thanks for watching.